In this video, I'm going to show you a live seminar that I did at Virtual Golf Lincoln with a group of amateur golfers ranging from high handicaps to low handicaps, showing them the force plate, the biomechanics on how they can hit the ball further and improve their golf swing. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment below. But what I want to do with you guys now is get you all to hit a driver on the plates, get a little bit of data, and then kind of talk through your data and obviously what that kind of shows up depending on your goals, okay? We'll start with yourself. Is from your own knowledge of your golf swing, what's probably the two things that you know you struggle with or have worked on?
One of them definitely had a boost slice years ago, a bit like that,
Yeah.
which I've been working on
Yeah.
a lot now. So now I'm trying to take it about more in line with my hands.
Yeah.
And then feeling like my left hip goes back,
Got you.
straight back, so that I can turn shallow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I lose speed when I try and launch one and go for it.
Yeah.
I just completely go out back.
Got you. So a couple of things I would say straight away to that. So, and this is for everyone really, who obviously the slice, if you will, comes from a swing direction moving to out to in, the over the top, however you want to describe it. Now, how you move through the ground can influence, basically help with the swing direction. And a key thing I would look at here is this diagonal, this line here. If we was getting, if you think about like a player who would be more here, that diagonal line would actually start to move out this way, whereas a player who's getting it a bit more under, you would see almost that line working diagonally over here. So I don't know what yours will show, but it'll be interesting to see if that links with that. So, and this is in transition, I mean. So from there, you can see how you've got a diagonal line there, which is normal and good. We would probably expect to see that line stay at a similar angle for a period in the downswing. Not all the way down, but pretty good, but you can see how straight away it's moving out towards the toes. And you can see obviously. So what you're working on principally is correct, that feel between the in the left hip. But this is where with the ground force data, we could look at that and go, actually, we need to be working through this area in order to push to get the lead hip working backwards. So I can give you some simple drills for that. Okay, yourself, in terms of what you're working on.
So what I was mainly working on recently was just the setup to the shot. So originally my stance, it was very arms too far out, straight instead of bent, and I was coming too high and not coming under it.
Got you.
So I've just been working on bringing the arms a bit in, giving that low shot, and bringing it up further.
Okay. So it'll be interesting to see. So this is a key one that we start to see. If you kind of look at this lead leg, obviously you can see how that stays quite flexed in through the hip. So you see how you've kind of maintained the left knee stays very bent. Yeah. So rather than kind of pushing. Now that's obviously going to influence how the lead side, left hip, the upper body can rotate or can't rotate open. So in terms of some of the thing you're talking about, that will obviously influence where the arms go and then obviously the club direction. So it'd be quite interesting, quite similar actually, although it looks very different, quite similar principles that we could kind of do a drill around. So we'll come back to that in a second. Then yourself.
My main problem is I think of too many at once.
Yeah.
But the two main ones would be trying to put on the power too early with my hands.
Yeah.
That tends to lose a lot. The later I do it, the better.
Got you.
And then with my actual kind of separation is, I know, again, because I've done some speed training, looked at ball speed, that I've got to get left to get that up.
Yeah.
But then I start pulling my whole body, and then I get two on it, hit down, low spin, or then I realise I'm doing that, and then I leave, and then I'm just too far back. So legs kind of left, but my body's still being a bit right, and
Got you. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And obviously you talked a bit at the beginning. It's interesting because they're all different feels, patterns, but they kind of actually are showing up in similar ways. Yeah, there's a really good example. So you can see there, as you're saying, is you push towards lead side, but you're only about 60%, you're barely into your lead side by mid downswing. By that point, you'd want to stop moving laterally, which is what you talked about, and then be moving more vertically and up and out of it. And because that's happening too late, and this is what we kind of call like you move sideways, but then the brakes don't start, you obviously then naturally going to stay in the shot for too long, which obviously means it's going to be very difficult for you to impart the club head speed and launch, to be fair. I imagine that lead side through launch. Probably the easiest drill that all of you can do that correlates with everyone is just probably, I don't know if you've seen this, but understanding how the difference between that pressure and weight. So like the reason I find that this is so important is because if I was to move my weight to my right, in theory, I've got to do that. So that's a weight shift, but I can keep my weight quite central and still move the board. So that's obviously moving pressure versus weight. And what we're trying to talk about here is when we load going back, can we get the pressure into the right without an excessive sway, which most golfers work on. But then when you kind of limit the sway, then you're stuck going this way, because the next thing you're going to do is try and get your weight back on top, which is what we don't want. So I would say all of you to have a go on this almost without a club, and try and understand the pattern of, okay, load up as normal, but when you move to target in the downswing, try and focus on like almost pushing the board down, but keeping like almost your body weight here, which would be hands, arms, and the upper body, like back. So you see how I'm shifting? And principally, you might have heard of the phrase like back to target for longer. And all of you would benefit from that, because naturally, if I've shifted, the club's obviously going to work in a circular motion anyway, but you can see how I'm in a space to push and extend. So I'd probably say, principally take that. Some of you can have a hit, some of you use the board, see if you can feel that, and I'll take the plates away. And it would just be interesting to see how that all of you kind of feel and interpret that information differently. If you think about your lead foot, in order to get the lead hip to extend and to rotate, you have to create an opposing force, which is forward. So that's like you're going to be pushing in theory through that toe to go that way.
So when we're on this and we're translating that into how we hit that, what's the actual ideal? What are we looking for to translate from this?
It's not so much that there's like an ideal per se, it's more that it's the timing of the forces. So for example, if you turn to the top, and most people say, right, you want to have shifted your weight to the top. Well, the reality is you wanted to shift your weight early, or your pressure, should we say, so that's the board. But as you're sort of getting towards the top, naturally that board, you want to be going left. So that's like a recentering motion. Yeah, so that's a lateral shift or a sway. Depends how you want to describe it. But because that's happened so early, the rest is easy, because you can now just turn and extend. And obviously you've got more time to do that, where most people, what they do, they get to the top and they'll be mostly on their right side, and then they're trying to shift and rotate and push, and there's just not enough time to do it. So think about what's the most common problem for most amateur golfers? It's like the early extension, it's losing posture, it's coming over the top. And nearly all of that's influenced by really the sideward force happening too late. Is a best way of thinking about it.
Are you saying that recovery, obviously, on our way, as we come through, should we be looking to just switch the pressure more than?
Yeah, so I would say is like if you did this grip position, this is always a cool drill because it takes away the hands and arms like that. So grip it on top and one under, that's it. And just turn to the top. Yeah, so you see how like naturally mass or weight is going to be further back here. But if I held you there and said push the board down with your left foot, yeah, you see how it's really hard because you're going to want to shift quite excessively to get your weight to do it. Yeah. Whereas that's the difference between kind of moving your weight to get versus moving the pressure.
Yeah, it's difficult from this position to move the pressure,
yeah,
but it's much easier
to just lunge over the top of it, isn't it?
Not enough time.
Yeah. And obviously it's a skill, but it's also a physical element because what you're asking to do is create, and that's why this relates a little bit to your drill. If what I'll just show you quickly. If you watch me do this, you see how that's like almost a stamp/shift. I'm not trying to get the excessive move. I'm trying to create the wheels in motion, which is really just me pushing from right to left enough to have done my left shift. So from there, my hands and arms are still back. They're not here, for example, because now how am I going to get out the ground at that time in the swing? So it's that feeling of almost like, you kind of see how that's like trying to find that rhythm.
You're pushing down that way.
Yeah.
If I was drawing a line,
yeah,
say you're telling us to go there.
Correct.
But then if you watch enough stuff that you probably can watch,
yeah,
they're also trying to get it that way to get back out. So
yeah.
So if
Where is my line? When I'm pushing down, where is
It's a really good question, and that's quite a complicated answer, but you've obviously got three forces at play. You've got your sideward, your lateral forces, you've got your verticals, and then you've got your forward and backwards, which are your rotationals and your torques. Now, obviously, if you think about it, they're all working together at the same time. It's just that there has to be a sequence of events. So when I'm doing that, for example, well, I'm evidently moving sideways, aren't I? That's the only way I'm going over here. But I'm also pushing the board down, so I have to also be pushing vertically. So if you think about that logically, if I'm drawing an arrow, I'm not going that way and I'm not going that way, but I'm going probably more there. But if I'm also then trying to create this push, I'm also probably going a little bit in that direction. So if I was to stand here and jump backwards, I'm going to push that way to go that way, which is the same principle as obviously, you see how, like, if you watch the best golfers in the world, it's really hard to see visually. Maybe Justin Thomas is the best one, but that lead heel will come up, but it won't go down that way. It will go almost to target. So you're almost like torquing the ground, which is obviously that's your lateral, that's your rotational.
Would you recommend that if someone is struggling like that? If someone is struggling with that, is that something you would recommend doing to get it right?
Personally, I would, yeah, because that's just loading up. Yeah.
See, I'm just waiting late.
Yeah, but that's better, and I would promote that because really you're trying to load up that hip joint internally, where most people are actually, they're trying to do it internally, but they're not. They're actually doing that, aren't they? So if you do that, you can feel that almost hurt, like load, whereas obviously if you used to put your foot like that, technically that won't hurt because of how you're kind of twisting it. So almost working with your body mechanics as opposed to against them. It's difficult, isn't it? And obviously we're doing it in a very quick sense and whatnot, but it's more probably just giving you a different visual.
Yeah, I know what you were just saying.
It's weird. You want to move, but you've got to stay back.
And I think that's just a perfect example of understanding the difference between shifting your weight versus shifting your pressure. But like you say, golf's taught and felt in a certain way, so that is almost a foreign movement, but it's only because it's something, not the opposite, but there's an element of where it is very different to what you would have naturally applied.
What I'm hoping from this is what you said about, you might have said it about coming like up and then staying backwards and then hitting almost higher because of it. A lot of my drives makes them.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm hoping that actually that will also help. It might also help.
100% it will, providing you can obviously match that up. But a really good drill for yourself I mean, you might not like it in some respects, but is using a really high tee.
Yeah.
Because if you do that move, you're going to sky it. Yeah. So it would be the promotion of, right, okay, I've got a high tee. The only way I'm going to clip that ball is to be pushing out and up, which is almost like your lead shoulder doing that, isn't it? Whereas obviously if you think about your lead knee staying very flexed, look where that lead shoulder is going to go. So naturally you're almost driving down. That's why you hit it quite low. Yeah. But you'd probably instinctively also use quite a low tee for driver.
I do, yeah. So you recommend using it?
I would, but I appreciate it's like a constraint, isn't it? It's like in order for you to clip that ball more, you've got to essentially feel like you're standing up more through the shot.
This can sky.
Nice.
Yeah, that works.
But
Well, that's the longest drive I've ever hit by about 20 yards.
Oh, really? Oh, you got that on camera. I'll just show you. And it's kind of answering all your questions, but I appreciate feels are a bit different for everyone. But I can do this as a motion, where if I was doing it slow motion, it's like load, push, hit. What am I swinging at there? Like 40%? And I'm still kind of, I'm getting the sequence, aren't I? Now, if I just went really aggressive at that, the reality is, because this and these are going to move way quicker than this and that pressure shift, I'm going to get to the ball before this has done its work. So most people go, oh, it just feels like I get stuck, I get steep, I kind of lose my strike because the arms are out racing. So it's about, I've just done that at 40%, and it's like, okay, can I now do that at like 60%? But it's the same motion, And you see how I'm changing essentially the tempo and speed, but I'm not changing the sequence. And naturally then obviously force is going to increase as I go faster, but the timing and the sequence of the forces are technically the same. And I think that's it's about being dynamic. And I think naturally when we try and change, we kind of like say a little bit yourself, like we're trying to get like a position, but we don't have time to get a position. I think it's about feeling dynamic. And if you kind of listen, again, look at the force plate data as a lot of players, if I want someone to learn to go left earlier, I'm saying like by the time this club's here, you need to feel like you're going left. Because by the time you've actually processed that and created the force, you're going to be up here. So it's got to feel like it's happening there. And again, that then can come back to like the step drill. Because the step drill is essentially moving, look how that, I've moved my pressure now, but look how my weight and mass is back. So just doing like a step drill, you can kind of see, I'm just creating now that, basically that movement pattern that we've talked about on there and what we probably don't see on the plates. So, there's a couple of ways of doing it, but it's probably just looking at it maybe for all of you like a little bit more dynamically, being a little bit more athletic, getting away from positions, even like you've just done there, right? It's feeling real, isn't it? It's like higher T, constraint.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, two small things.
Yeah. So hopefully that just gives you a little bit of a different insight, but I appreciate time and whatnot.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Cheers, gents.
Try to do one of those dynamics.
Yeah, do it.
He playing forwards. He practice swings used to start here.
Yeah, 100%.
And then so more like a,
And that's really common. Nice. I think, and nearly all the best players, typically like best ball striker, longer hitters, they do it naturally. But once you understand what the mechanisms behind it, it's a little bit easier to like integrate it. Nice.
seems a lot smoother than iron.
Yeah.
The way to drive or something, I just feel like I have to.
Yeah. But that's because it's a longer shaft, different delivery. But again, it's about, you can build that up over time. Like that's a really nice, sequence. And if we had that on the plates, that pressure would be moving totally different. But yeah, you just don't have as much time. Everything has to happen earlier, but you've got to build up to that, haven't you? If to change that pattern.
Interesting. Well, appreciate it.
Pleasure.